question is, or you sit down and want to do a 10-page research paper on our hair, just don't fucking touch it without our permission. Then again, there's not even a right way to come up and ask us to touch it, because we're going to be offended, period, because y'all don't know how to ask shit right. All right. Enough about that, because that's a whole topic within itself. All right. Can I worry about racism without being seen as self-interested or self-seeking? Now, this goes back to how I started this conversation about the Black Lives Matter movement. For those of y'all who are not black or minorities, I could say there, would not truly understand what the Black Lives Matter movement really means to us as a people or globally as a world. But to come back and say all lives matter is basically the biggest representation of white privileges, because for us to try to get movement behind ourselves, to get ourselves out there, to better ourselves as people and to come together as a unity, you immediately want to silence. And I understand for those people who just want equality across the board, and you're probably saying this without any there, well, it shouldn't just be Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. It's like, true, all lives matter, but at the current moment in time, black lives are being erased off this map at an exponential rate. So we need to get everybody to care about black lives so we can stop erasing black lives, whether it's us or other people killing us. All right? Shut the fuck up and let black lives matter for a while. If you wait around a couple of years, Irish lives will matter then. Then Hispanic lives can matter again. As a matter of fact, Hispanics are taking over the world. So just leave us the fuck alone and worry about these Hispanics invading the world. I'm telling you, they're aliens. All right.
Irish lives will matter. And I noticed that people pop up in different hashtags, or you can tell when they're being sarcastic, and it's just one of the things you have to say. Mind you, okay, this Black Lives Matter started because, as Tone was saying, so many African Americans, male and female, were getting murdered at the hands of law enforcement, just left and right. Like, it was appalling to every time get online to see someone else who died in the hands of the law, you know, and there will be no excuse for it, no reasoning. It's like, what the hell is going on? And granted, people get murdered of all races and die all the time, but for some reason lately, there's been a lot of black lives at the hands of law enforcement that are mysteriously get arrested for some petty, and then they mysteriously die hours later. Like, come on now.
All right. And we, like we said, we're not taking that away from whatever you guys are doing. Keep doing what you're doing. But the worst thing you can do is try to undermine a movement that's already going on. As a matter of fact, you could probably piggyback us. We don't care. We at the end of the day, all lives matter, but we just want y'all to know that ours kind of matter really, really, really important right now. Y'all need to rep your shit. I'm just saying. All right. All right, here's one, Tasha. I think you would definitely relate to this one. I could take a job or enroll in a college without an affirmative action policy, without having coworkers or peers assuming I got this job because of my race. Now, being the only black person who's been at your job, or the last few jobs you've had, and you have some really good careers. Let me rephrase that. You don't have jobs, you have careers, okay, in the accounting field. You go to school, you deal with some of the most boring shit you can ever learn to have the kind of career you do, all right? But to be the only black female at your job, and we all know that equal opportunity employment is a point-based system, people. So you guys who don't know that, basically for every minority you have at your job, that particular job receives 1 point. A job is considered EOE qualified if they have 6 points of qualification. In the world of qualification, minorities, disabilities, women, and it's something else, I can't remember, all fall under that qualification. So if you get a disabled black woman to work at your job, not saying Tasha's disabled, but if you get a disabled black woman to work at your job, they have set aside 3 points of qualification in one person. Now, a lot of big major companies have been using this to their advantage. So as the company grows in regards to size, the qualification of EOE points increase. Every point counts for one body that must be employed at your job. So they've been finding loopholes by hiring certain particular statuses to satisfy one seat for 2 qualifications. So being conscious of the fact that she's an African American and a woman, Tasha has satisfied two qualifications at her job in one person. So you're saying to yourself, Tone, so what's the big deal? So they hit the EEO qualifications faster. Yes. But remember, there's 6 seats that's supposed to be set aside for these particular people. If Tasha fills two of those seats with one person, that means they can hire one more white person without any scrutiny because they met their qualification. These things are signs of white privilege. But then you might say, Tone, but she got her job because of this EO. Like, this company might have had all white people in their job. This is true. Because here's where the problem of white privileges comes back into play. Should it have even been a place that we have to worry about a person not being hired because of their color? Should there really be a company out here with nothing but white people and we have to enforce a rule like such to make them hire the proper people to fit the employment? That's where the issue comes into play at people. That's where this whole entire Black Lives Matter movement, as well as the white privilege topic we're covering today, becomes very important. Because you people who are of European descent are not understanding that a lot of you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for America not wanting blacks to be prosperous. Okay? I'm going to stop my list right there because a lot of that other shit we can go on for days. But I'm going to give you a quick history lesson and we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Number one, are you aware that majority of the European cultures outside the British colonies are only here in America because after the Civil War and the North won and we became one union yet again, African Americans were free. For those of you who didn't know, slavery was not supposed to be abolished. Slavery was only abolished because the North could not financially survive as long as the South had free labor. So as long as the South could literally make $10 off of 13-cent worth of employment and sell their goods across the whole world, while the North literally had to spend $8 in labor for the same $10 of profit, could not survive. By abolishing slavery, free labor no longer exists. Now, even though the cost to pay said slaves only went up to about a $4 increase, it still gave an even playing field across the board. But here's where white America fucked up. White America fucked up because as much as they didn't want to pay the blacks, they realized we don't know how to do shit. We sat here all this damn time and made sure that every black slave we owned knew how to do every damn thing in the world. We even tried to stop them from reading to make it seem like we had control, but now that they're free, they can go to school. They can learn. Hell, only one of them has to go to school. He can come home and teach everybody else. So now we're at that point where we don't know shit. We can't do shit. We're fucked. So how do we stop the blacks from taking over the world that we literally gave to them? Bring in more whites. If you pay attention to the way Americans think, they always think that in order to minimize the work by adding more people to the country, he'll do the same work for less. So they open up the gates to allow any Europeans to come to this country and work for 50 cents for every $10. So instead of you having to hire that black guy at $4 for every $10 he makes, I can now hire this Irish person at 50 cents for every dollar they make. Now, once you get one or two Irish people in, they're going to set up shop. They're going to build themselves a little Irish community. So for every Irish person that decides to come over here, here's a home, here's a cot until you get situated, stack your 50 cents, go build your own house, bring some more of your people. So you start getting these immigrants from Europe, okay? And more and more and more and more white people are now coming over here, and they're taking care of each other. Meanwhile, the blacks who now have gotten to the common sense, like, you know what? We ain't got to work for these white folks for $10 or $4 for every 10 they make because they need us. Fuck them. Let's go make our own $10. Now, we don't have to take $10. We'll take the same product that you're selling for $10, we'll build it ourselves, and we'll sell it back to everybody for $7. Because at the end of the day, we still making more money than you was paying us. Now you have out of work, out of business white people. Oh, they're pissed. Okay? White privileges are not working anymore for them. Now, they got to do something. These niggas got to go. And now you have the birth of the KKK.
Oh,
the KKK was not a radical organization of cops and everybody who was pissed off at blacks were free. No. The KKK was started by a bunch of unemployed, out of work, out of business white people who were highly upset that African Americans were prospering.
Yeah.
So for those of you who sit here and wonder why blacks can't survive, we can't survive because it is known through history that whites will do anything possible to make it that we don't prosper. All right? And now look at it again. Now as we as blacks are starting to be more integrated in today's society, after 9/11 happened and we realized, fuck them foreigners, and we have to come together as Americans, blacks and whites start being on the same page again. We all had a common hate. Fuck anybody overseas. Everybody joined the military. Everybody went off to fight the Great War. You sent all your patriotic white boys off to war and forgot you still got shit that needs to be ran here. Guess who in the fuck stepped up yet again to run this country for you? Black people. Everywhere from the guy running your local grocery store all the way up to the motherfucking president was now being ran by black people. White folks came back from war and realized we fucked up. So they did something beyond stupid. Instead of trying to fight to get their jobs back, because now we're a country of equality. So we can't just go and be fucking racist anymore. We got to do something else. What do? They let Mexicans come in. Mexicans took all the lonely jobs that nobody wanted anymore. Because nobody want to be that guy that keeps up the mall all day. You can't hire the little special needs kid to properly clean the kitchen tables at the Mayfair Mall anymore. You got to actually have somebody with some common sense to do it. And a black person ain't going to want to do that no more. No, we below these jobs. Nigga, we want our $15 an hour to work at McDonald's. Fuck you. We're not going to bust no tables.
Mm-hmm.
Jorge comes around and say, hey, I'll do it. I'm cool with that. Next thing you know, Jorge taking all $8 that you would have gave that guy busting the table. What ends up happening is our high and mighty black ass is thinking we'd have made somewhere, and we don't get that $15 an hour job at McDonald's, so we want to say fuck McDonald's and we quit, thinking that table job is still there. It's not. So now your black ass ain't got no job, and Jorge took your $8 job. But what ends up happening is white people look at it as, ooh, free labor is back. So Jorge go tells his buddies, and they go cut the grass down the street. They go clean your pool. They go paint your house. The next thing you know, you look up, Jorge and his whole damn family done moved next to you on your dollar. See, white folks is too fucking lazy to realize that they fuck up every goddamn thing that's living. So that's basically what real white privilege is. The ability to sit down and fuck shit up and deny every ounce of it. Because that's exactly what y'all do. I'm going to get off my goddamn my high horse and give Tasha back his show where we get banned by the NAACP.
Man, now we do want to put a disclaimer out there, like, at the end of the day, a lot of this is very true. Now, as I stated in the beginning, are we here on Tonedefradio racist or think that all non-black people have this same mindset? Not at all. No, we don't. Not everyone is ignorant. Not everyone is high and mighty. We get it. But there's a huge, it's just like there's a huge amount of ignorant black folk. And there's ignorance in every freaking culture, every race.